Alright, so welcome to the all-panel speedrun tutorial. I pledged to try to keep this under 2 hours long, so let's get into it before I start burning too much time. So first of all, you should know that all panels is the coolest category, and you need to get all 150 panels. As you can see in the bottom left, there are 150, and you go through the game and get all of them. So, before we get started, I'll just go over some sort of, I guess, preliminary information. Consider this your driver's ed course of sorts. First of all, which character should you use? Obviously, you should use Cow. But not actually. So, the stats breakdown for free roam specifically are pretty interesting. So, Limcube did a lot of research on this, and I haven't independently verified, but I'm pretty sure he did a really good job. And basically, for the speed stat, anything past 1 bar of speed is just thrown out. So you're locked in, or you're capped rather, at 1 bar of speed. So in this case, you actually shouldn't use Cow, unfortunately. The best characters to use are Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, or Parabitty since they are the lightest weight characters and have the best acceleration. And the best vehicle to use is the Mock Rocket, since that gives you exactly 1 speed, and then maxes out your acceleration and handling. If you want to be really technical, Baby Daisy is the better character, just for menuing reasons, and her selection animation is about 1/3 of a second faster than Baby Peach's, so that's why she's better. And then Parabitty is just at the end of the menu, so he just takes way longer to get to. That being said, if you're like a huge Dry Bones fan or something, okay, that's not a good example because he has the same stats. If you're a huge Monty Mole fan, there are other options, so you can just use him on like the Cute Scooter, for example, and you lose about 20% of a bar of acceleration and maybe 40% of your handling, which, do what you want. As long as you have 1 bar of speed, Baby Daisy is the best though, so I'll be going with her. One thing you might notice is I have that little annoying antenna? The smart steering thing, which is going to, trigger whenever you try to run into a wall. It's a lot more forgiving in free roam than it is in, your average versus race. But I'm actually going to, for the purpose of this, keep this on for the entirety of the run. Some people opt to turn it off around the time you get to Wario Stadium, so they do Mario Burst Circuit, they do all of this with it on, and then they turn it off here, I believe. It's up to personal preference. I'll keep it on for the majority of it. Now, why do you want it on? Because smart steering lets you do something like this, where you can just charge a charge jump against a wall, and then you can just jump onto the wall and get your charge like that, versus if I had smart steering off, that is completely impossible to do. You cannot charge jump against a wall like that. You would have to start it out from back here, and then, get up that way, right? So you can charge jump against a wall, and that's used 4 or 5 times throughout the run. So that's why smart steering is on. One downside of smart steering is that you can't get an ultra mini turbo, so that's your rainbow sparks. So I can be drifting for days here, but it's never going to get past orange. Like, it's always going to be either blue or orange, versus with smart steering off, you obviously get the ultra mini turbo, the bigger boost there. And that is the same thing for charge jumps, so you get to blue, and then you eventually get to orange. But you never will get to the 3rd tier of mini turbo, right? So, something to keep in mind. So that's why people turn it off, is because there are opportunities later to get ultra mini turbos, basically. While we're here, so I'll explain something important with wall rides. So, wall riding, you've probably already seen it, hopefully. Right, looks like this, you can jump off of it. Something really important with wall riding is that it won't work unless you do a trick. So I think this is pretty universally known information, but if you drive into a wall 100 times, it's never going to work until you do a trick, and then that works, right? So keep that in mind. We actually abused that in Great Question Block Ruin. but we'll get to that when we get to the actual courses. Next up, are there item blocks close by? Yes! So next up is the rewind feature. You press D-pad down and you rewind. And that's useful for a few things. So notably, it's useful for a lot of the routing that we do. Is we'll get a question mark panel that's here. We'll rewind and then we'll go this way, right? Instead of driving all the way back. So it saves a bit of time. You actually rewind faster than you drive, which is nice. One really important thing about rewinding is if you're holding the A button or not holding the A button when you're done your rewind. So I'm rewinding and I'm still holding the A button, right? So you accelerate, obviously. If you let go and you try to brake, you decelerate. But if you do not hold the A button, you actually just do a hard stop. So, I don't know, I'm driving, hard stop, and that lets me, like, turn easier, right? That lets me control myself a bit easier if that ever comes up. Same thing if you're in the air. That actually won't work because it's you're gliding. But if I were to... a big enough jump. So I do a jump. Same exact thing. If I'm holding the A button, I am propelled forward. If I do not hold the A button, I just drop exactly where I am, right? So that's something to keep in mind because there are some strategies that specifically require you not to hold the A button during a rewind because of that. So items in free roam, you can get one of 5 different items, which is a mushroom, a feather, a triple mushroom, golden mushroom, or a star. So it's the exact same as in any other mode. Feather makes you jump, mushrooms make you go fast, star gives you invincibility and maxes out your acceleration, I think it is. It makes you go faster. And that's pretty much it. So one important thing is that you can never have 2 of the same item. So if I have a golden mushroom, I'm never going to get a second golden mushroom. So in this case, I'm never going to get triple shrooms, right? It can never have 2 feathers. So you can't have 2 of the same items. It's just something to keep in mind. So if you're about to run into an item box and you have 1 mushroom, maybe keep it, because now you're guaranteed to not have a mushroom. Or maybe if you have a star, you want to use it before you hit the item box, because then you have a chance at another star, right? So one also important thing to consider, and it would have been great if I thought about this before driving away from the item boxes, is the interaction between items and rewinding. So if you have an item, which I will get in just a second. So if I have an item, hopefully this is a mushroom, amazing. If I use the mushroom, boom, we go fast. We get this panel that I pretended existed earlier, and we rewind. But where I used the mushroom, I get that mushroom back. And then I can, go this way and get the panel that was over here, right? So you can get your items back, and that can be used in some places, again, with the rewind feature. There are a few caveats, namely, well, there are a lot of caveats, actually, and feathers is not one of them, but all 3 of the other items are. So for triple mushrooms, I'm going to use the first one right by this big post. And then I'll use the second one, right here. If I rewind, I'm not getting that second one back. That second one is just gone. And same thing if I use another mushroom and I rewind, I'm not getting that third one back either. But if I rewind back to where I started the triple mushrooms, which is right around here, I get all of them back. And I lost my star, of course I did. So I get all of them back because I went back to where I started the triple mushroom, right? And same thing if you've only used 1 mushroom. If you've used 2 mushrooms, like it's always when you started that triple mushroom. Cool, got a star again. That's nice. Stars, pretty self-explanatory. They get used immediately when you click on it, and you lose it immediately when you rewind. So there's not much more to it than that. If you're using a star and you make a mistake, whoops, didn't mean to not jump there, I lose the star. Right? Cool. Golden Mushroom is pretty much the same thing as Triple Mushrooms. If I start my Golden, I don't know, right beside these pillars, and I use it, I'm gonna go trace fast. I'm not getting it back until... Oh, no. Okay. Rosalina's bus. I'm not getting it back until I rewind all the way back to these pillars, right? But the Golden Mushroom doesn't disappear, so if I rewind, I can still use it. There's not a lot of places where this would come up, but it's still good to know that you'll have access to the end of your mushroom, you know, if you need to rewind. So yeah, keep those things in mind. Alright, next up is coins. So you don't actually need coins in this run. Coins do not affect your speed in free roam. It's not like in other modes where coins make you go faster. They do not do anything. The only thing they do is that when you pick one up, you get a very, very slight boost. I'll try to get this with like as little speed as possible. That's the boost that you get when you get a coin. So you'll see there's a bit of fire out of the exhaust whenever you pick up coins. This is fractions of a second, so it's not too impactful, right? Like, you shouldn't go out of your way to get a coin because the boost that you get is actually, like, pretty much nothing. And on top of that, specifically for purposes that we'll get into pretty soon, you don't want to get 100 coins during the run. And you might think, okay, well, what are the chances of you getting 100 coins? Probably not a lot, but there are the coin stacks, and we do drive beside a lot of them. So Whistlestop Summit, for example, you drive by, is it here? Yeah, so this stack coin, right? Stack of coins. So you don't want to like accidentally bump into that because that just gives you more coins. And again, if you get 100, you might lose time. So why would you lose time? So there is another mechanic that we can go back to DK Spaceport for. So there are two ways to warp around. One, you just saw me, you open the map, you click on a level, you go. And then the other one is you can just quit free roam. So that's used 3 or 4 times during the run, I think. And this just warps you to a different part of the course. So we were all the way there where the balloons are and... Stop moving. Where the balloons and the starting line are. Now we're here. Doing this warp saves about 8 seconds compared to the other option is using the barrels. I think was what we used to do. So that's great, but when you quit free roam, if you have over 100 coins, you're going to get stopped right here, and the game's going to be like, hey, you got 100 coins, you unlocked a new cart. And that's just slower, right? So getting coins, not impactful, and getting 100 coins will slow you down if you do a quit warp and you end up unlocking a course. No, not a course, a cart. So, don't worry about coins, basically. Alright, the last thing that's important is the route that you're going to take. So you always start on Mario Bros. Circuit, because that's where the game spits you out after the opening cutscene. So this category does start from a completely fresh save file. So you go through the little intro, Mario screams Mario Kart World, and then winks at you. And then you start at Mario Bros. Circuit. There is no reason to start anywhere else. You would just waste time, right? Because you need to come back here afterwards. So there's a few things that you might want to consider when you do the route. So first of all, I just spoke about it, is the quit warps. So if I remember correctly, the ones we do are DK Spaceport, Shy Guy Bazaar for the beginner strat, Wario Stadium, and Dry Bones Burnout. So generally you want to do those first if you're worried about getting 100 coins, because if you do this route, you will almost guaranteed never get 100 coins before Dry Bones Burnout. But I know some of the, there's considerations on what the best route is, which again, we'll get to that. But they actually finish with Acorn Heights, Dry Bones Burnout, and then Bowser's Castle. So at this point, they're very careful about their coin count to not get 100, because then they'll lose a couple of seconds in Dry Bones Burnout, right? So keep that in mind for the quit warps. Second of all is Crown City. I'll talk a bit more later, but there are traffic cycles that we don't really understand. We know they're consistent sometimes, but what makes them consistent or not is difficult. So the route that I'm going to do is the one that I'm used to, and specifically because, or rather, I do that route because it spawns a glider ramp pretty much when I get there, right? So I do Mario Bros. Circuit to Peach Stadium to Crown City. A lot of runners go Mario Bros. Circuit directly to Crown City because that works for them. It does not work for me for some reason. There was an old route that did Mario Bros. Circuit to Choco Mountain to half of Peach's Stadium to Crown City, and then it would do other courses and back up on Crown City later in the route. So it really depends what you want to go with. I will show a route, but if you're more comfortable with a different route, it literally does not matter, other than if you're starting like Mario Bros. Circuit and then you're going to like Sky High Sundae and then you're going to Faraway Oasis, you know, not optimal map movement. So the one I'm going to do is Mario Bros. Circuit, Peach Stadium, Crown City, Koopa Troopa Beach, then you'll come around all the way here, Wario Stadium, these guys, you'll come up here to Boo Cinema, go down here, go across here, and then clean up the rest of the courses that you haven't touched. So, finish on Starview Peak. If you want to edit it, again, it does not matter. What does matter, though, is the map movement. So your cursor has a pretty constant speed. It cannot go any faster, but you can scroll out, and you can travel the world map a lot better. So as you're running, you'll get into the habit of holding the L button, because both the right stick and the L button can zoom out the map, R button zooms in. So you just press Y and hold L, and that zooms it out, right? So if I go to Mario Bros. Circuit, I'm doing this. Click. If I'm going to Peach Stadium, I'm doing this, right? I'm never going without zooming out. So that's really just something you want to keep in mind. Right, so last thing before we actually get into it is how are you going to reset the game? We'll just cover this now, and then we'll get into the actual game. So obviously this game starts from a new profile. So for example here, I could use 4 and 5 as new profiles. I have a bunch set up on my Switch just so it's faster to reset. What I do is I start by backing up my personal profile. So this is optional. Yes, okay. It takes a second to back up. And it's about 130 megabytes, so depending on your internet speed, it generally is pretty fast. Cool. So again, optional step, and then you're going to go into System Settings, Data Management, and then Delete Save Data. So if you did back up your save data, you can go to the last button, Delete Save Data for the software, which clears everything. If not, you just delete them one by one. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of them. There you go. And you never want to run on your personal file. If you try to, it's going to be like, hey, there's existing save data. Don't do that. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, timing starts at the end of the first loading screen. So what a lot of people do, myself included, is that on your splits, you have this set to negative 16.6. This is assuming you're on digital. I'm not sure what the timing is for physical. But we're going to start our splits here. And then you'll see about when the timing should actually start. So it starts right when the wheel in the bottom right starts to disappear. So here is when your time would start, right? Oops. Oh no. I was trying to reset. Didn't work very well. Okay. Alright, so when you gain control, which is a bit after you cross into Mario Bros. Circuit, you're just going to mash the start or A button, and then mash start until you pause, and we're immediately just going to change characters. Baby Daisy, as we've mentioned, and the Mock Rider. and get started. So first off, we're going to turn right and head to this wire. So if you're good, the strat is to come here and jump off and sort of finesse yourself onto this question mark block. It is a bit tough, so if you want to just take it slow, you just end up on the roof, U-turn, and then U-turn again, and you're on your way. But either case, we're coming down here. And we're going to come under this bridge to get the second one. Then rewind. And then charge a jump onto this wall just to jump across these roofs. And I have not done this in a while. Because I do the harder strat. There you go. So just jump across these roofs to get the third panel here. Alright, I did forget to mention, but feel free to grab an item there and use it wherever you see fit. But for this strat, it is very easy. You just need to make sure you trick as late as possible on this rail right here. So waiting until the end, and then you trick, and you make it every time. There are two strats for the next panel. The easy one is you're just going to hop across the water and grab it this way. Or, if you want the slightly more, I guess the more technical version, is you're going to start your rail grind here, and then do a right trick at the right timing. So the right timing is right in front of this bracket. Right in front. Right on that bracket, you're going to trick to the right. So let's do it with a bit more speed. On the bracket, trick to the right. Of course. Alright, try again. On the bracket, trick to the right. And then do one right trick. So no matter what, you're going to end up back here. You're going to go on this rail and then get the last one. And exit out here. So Peach Stadium is pretty easy. There are two segments to it. Neither of them are particularly hard, so you're just going to U-turn and go over here. First question mark block is right here. So I have trouble with doing... First of all, I missed it. Okay, so that is something that can happen. You can just clear it without picking it up. So I have trouble personally doing this trick, which I just messed up. This trick into this trick as shown. So I just skip out on doing the trick here. I don't know what it is. It's a me problem. If you want to do it, go ahead. It might be a you problem too, though. So I get this one, trick, do not trick here, and then trick here to get up the wall, and jump immediately to the right, to the left, I mean, to get the bottom question mark block. Quick reset, we're going to go straight. This is fairly straightforward. We'll just go up the road a bit. We'll do a charge jump to get on these rails to the right, and then trick right. And then the next panel, you're going to want to drift on this one, but the next panel is right here on the roof. So once you leave here, you can start your drift right now. Sort of just like finesse yourself all the way here, get this panel, and then go straight. There are 100 points here. If you're holding the A button, you will never pick them up, so don't worry about that. Get the next panel on your route. Be very careful here, because in many cases where you get absorbed by the pipe, I actually probably shouldn't have done that. But yeah, be very careful about that. We'll try that again. So come here, get this panel, get this if it's an item that's good, and then drive on to the last panel right here. Okay, so I said we would speak about Crown City. There are considerations for Crown City, and a lot of people do different things. So I do Mario Bros. Circuit into Peach Stadium into Crown City because that works for me. Some people do Mario Bros. Circuit into Crown City because that works for them, and which part is it that works for them is that as I'm recording this, we do not understand traffic cycles yet, but we do understand that sometimes if you do the same things, you will get the same traffic cycle. And the important thing is, especially like if you're pushing for better times, the more top players will do routes that will get you a glider truck. I was vamping for time there. So eventually you'll figure out a route that works for you and you will get a glider truck. So you take this glider truck and you fly just here to the first panel. This saves a couple of seconds. It's not that big a deal if you're not either consistent at getting the truck or if you haven't figured out a route. The backup is to just go over here and then charge a jump just to right of this post to get that panel. Either case, you will end up at the panel and you will drop back down through these item blocks. And I already have an item, which is great. But the next thing you'll do is you will jump just slightly to the right here. You'll grab this panel, and then you will want to trick off of that as you use your item if it's a speed item, so either a mushroom or a star. So I'm going to left trick, and a drift. I'm going to use the mushroom and then trick off the ramp. And that should clear this gap. It is harder with a star than with a mushroom, but definitely possible. As long as you use the mushroom again before you jump. This is a hard trick. I still fail it sometimes. If you're having trouble, you just go to the right side of the building and you go around. Oops, not like that. And you go around. Grab the panel this way. In either case, you get this, you rewind back up here, and then we're gonna jump the rooftops as you would in like a Grand Prix race or whatever. Alright, here you're just going to drive off and trick off of here, just to make it to this roof. Dodge these coins, jump off, and then jump straight to the left, because we're going to grab this panel just in front of us. You can burn your item here, since we're just going to rewind and get hit by a bus, apparently. And then come here. This is the next trick, and this is another one that is a bit tough to do. So what I do is that I rewind until I'm in the air, and I start a charge jump to clear this roof. This part's relatively easy. As long as you get the charge jump and you don't, do anything funny, you should be able to get it. But what you want to do afterwards is jump off and end up in the second level of the parking garage, because that is where the next panel is. So there's a couple of different ways of doing that. I've found it more consistent if I take the jump at an angle, so I land on this almost at a 45 degrees, and then yeah, you can just enter the garage this way with a couple of tricks in the air. It is possible, depending on how good you are at finessing it, to not actually rail grind. So see if I can just do that quick. No, okay, well. There's a way to not rail grind right here. Whoa, that's my microphone that I just hit. Alright, there's a way to not rail grind on this one, which does save you a bunch of time. But again, just getting in the parking garage is the goal, basically. Like that, and then you would drive over that with a bit more finesse. So once you have that down, go here, frick. Dang. Oh well. You'll rewind until you're in the air. You can adjust yourself in the air. Whoops. Alright. So you go, parking garage, come back up here, and then you'll want to just go onto this glider ramp. From here, there's the wall panel, so you'll just right trick into the wall and then jump off. And you can go too high or too low, so just be careful about that, but generally it's pretty safe. And then you'll just want to drop down here onto the wire with the coins, jump off, do a big U-turn to the next panel, and get the next panel. You'll drop down here. I have a golden mushroom, so you want to use the golden mushroom before these item blocks, and I'll show you why. If you use it at that point, your golden mushroom will expire before these item blocks, and then you just get new item blocks. But the other thing to consider, and I see one right now, is that there you can get another glider ramp here. And another glider ramp will save you a lot of time. Honestly, it's more frustration than time for this one. But you take it, and then seafood restaurant, it is right on this rooftop. In either case, either you get that, or you come through these items. You're going to turn around. I have a feather, so you could use a feather, but in general, you just want to charge jump. Ooh. You don't want to hit traffic. You don't want to hit traffic. You just want to charge jump into this tree, and make it onto the route that way. So that's sort of the backup strat. God. Oh my god. Not going well. You can also use a feather to do this. You know, either way, either charge jump or feather will make you here. Grab this panel, and then panel number 10. You just cross this dock, bridge, pier, I don't know. Cross this, and it's all the way behind the sign. So, Crown City, the most involved course, but yeah, a couple of practice times, and it works out well. Alright, Koopa Troopa Beach is next. There's a route that involves item luck, so I'm not going to show that off. I'll just show off the regular one. So come up here, and you want to not jump off the toad, actually. Thank you, Toad. Okay, jump off the toad if you need to. Get this panel, and then 180 back up this way. You start a rail grind, and then you want to left click off of here, and just jump down to this guy, and then rewind, and grab this guy. If you grabbed a food item, which you should, you use it right here, and you jump off this ramp. The next part is you want to grab this panel and then do a hard turn to the right. So that is ideal. If you enter the pipe, that's like, I don't know, half a second, 3/4 of a second of time loss. So ideally you do this, you do that, you grab the panel and you continue. If you grab the pipe, basically what you expect, you do a couple of right tricks and you continue. Again, half a second slower, not the end of the world. Try not to do it though, obviously. And then you hold the A button for about 10 seconds and get the last panel. Okay, so DK Spaceport. This one you want to start, I've likely shown this off before, but charge jump into this wall, and then you're going to want to jump off this wire. So my lineup is there are 3 little buttons here, and I sort of jump off when Baby Daisy is on like the middle one. It's a pretty generous range, I guess, but nice. But yeah, I jump off when she's about in the middle of those 3 dots, so right here, right? And then you grab this one. The other thing I forgot to mention, we'll just start from the start again, is that there's this little, like, bell-like thing. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Like this thing, the light. I guess it's supposed to be a light. You don't want to charge jump to the right of this. You will probably miss it. If you want to play it even more safe, maybe you go about, like, halfway to this one. To this wire, I mean. And charge jump. And then you go from here. And you get the panel. And this is the first time we're going to quit free roam. And again, mash the plus button to actually get back into it. Don't mash like A or Y or anything else because you'll end up in the menus. But yeah, then slide left. You can try to trick off the water here, but water is really annoying. This panel, pretty self-explanatory. Okay, here, I have never had success with getting an orange mini turbo and making it up here. One thing you can do, if you want, is orange mini turbo and try to wall ride it. I haven't practiced this, so I will likely not get it. Never mind, it's easy. You do that. What you do instead, again, no orange here, do a blue mini turbo, do another blue mini turbo. If you approach these springs with too much speed, they just don't work. And then you take a left and climb these stairs. A bit of a right here for the next one. You can burn all your items here. Grab the panel. Rewind till about the stairs or this blue section, and you're going to keep on going just straight up. If you want, you can drift here and try to cut off this corner. And same thing, don't mushroom into these. Oh, it worked this time. But sometimes you mushroom into them and you have too much speed, or velocity I suppose, and you just run into the wall instead of actually clearing it. So don't mushroom into those. But yeah, the last one's pretty easy. You just take this barrel and the course does the rest for you. Alright, Whistlestop. This is one of the harder courses. Specifically for one part, which I'll give a very easy backup to. But in either case, if you do a 180, you can trick off of these if you want for a bit more speed. You will grab a food item and then the panel. Some people instead opt to grab the panel and then the food item. It's really up to preference. I don't like it this way. If you want to, try it out and do whatever's more comfortable, obviously. Food item, panel, I tap the B button here, just do it a bit slower. And then enter the pipe. So your items here are important if you're going for the hard strat. But in either case, you're going to get this panel. Oops, okay, well, that train is almost never there. Get this panel, and then we are at the glider. So pretty much in whatever case you do, you're going to have a lot of speed coming off of this. So brake a lot, take this one slow, and then turn. If you end up on the bottom here, just rewind it. It's not the end of the world, but you want to try to avoid it. So ideally, this is what it should look like. You're going to trick and use a couple of items. You use them earlier than you think you should, and then you can make it all the way to this panel. That is pretty hard, and especially if you have like a single mushroom or a star. Star is actually really bad here. That can be tough. So I'll just show the backup, which is you don't even need items for this one, so it's very easy. You just come over here and past this piece which you just drop down, and you make it to the P-switch that we just hit. So in either case, you will get there. I'll show off the other strat just for continuity, but in either case, this is the next P-switch, P-panel. Oh my god, question mark panel. Dude, I am confused with words. Grab this guy. Remember what category you're running. Gonna exit through here. That's actually not a good trick to do just because you end up getting more speed, and then I ended up doing a charge jump instead. But you'll turn around here, and then you'll do a charge jump against this rail. Jump up to the rail, and then jump to the side. I don't think a... Oh, you could also jump up here, but generally to the rail is better. Okay, I guess anything works. But so a side jump will make it a bit easier to actually get on the rail. And then you get off immediately, and the next panel is just like on your way up. And that's Whistlestop. Alright, so Desert Hill, immediate 180. A lot of people like doing charge jumps here, although it's not necessary. So I do a charge jump left just to give myself a bit of momentum and try to get on that wall, which works about 10% of the time. But you can just jump up and trick, and that will usually work. But in any case, you make it over here, onto this side path. And you'll just want to fall down here to get this question mark block. Do I keep saying P-switch? I think I keep saying P-switch. Ignore me. And then go to the glider ramp. The easiest way to do this is you just fall here and you take this wire to the next one. And then you follow the path up. And the rest of the course is really self-explanatory. You just follow these coins and hit the fifth one right here. Excellent. So, I'll show the difficult strat first here. I won't go too far into it because, especially if you're just starting out, it's not really necessary. But you're going to trick off of this guy and then hopefully land on this roof. But if you don't land on this roof, you just do the same thing, so you go around and make it onto this wire. You want to trick pretty much as late as possible to have a boost in the air to make it here. That gap jump is a bit tough. Hard jump against the wall to make it to this panel. Do a quick rewind and make it here. From here, this part is thankfully pretty easy. You'll make it all the way to the roof. And then jump off to get the second panel here. Rewind, and then jump off to the left here. Ooh, yeah. I tried to play it safe, but ended up shooting myself in the foot. Either case, you grab this one, and then you get these two in whatever order you like. Generally this one and then the second one, but what some people do is they actually drift into this one, which I am not good at, and then you go back and you trick over here to get the next one. Technically faster, I'm pretty bad at it. So, get this one, boom, rewind, oops. Yeah. Get this one, boom, rewind, I stop holding A here, and then you just accelerate and trick to get the last panel. So that's the difficult strat. The easier strat is, I believe you actually immediately quit out, because that's just a bit faster to get to the item boxes. And you end up at the exact same place. You're going to start a charge jump here, and get that panel. That should work. But again, if you started like before the pink part, you were like 90% fine. You can get a second item box if you're not bad. You're going to slow down here to do your hairpin turn, grab the second one, jump across. If you can do this without an item, great. If not, every single item is going to help you, so you can, you know, mushroom to make it. I had like no speed there and still made it right. You can start from like very little speed and still make it to the third panel. Boost into a trick, into jumping off. Just do that one again quick. Grab the third panel, hit this, trick off the wall, and entering the palace here for the next one. So you'll want at least one item, which means if you get a single mushroom like I did right here, you save it. If not, you can cut across this grass. Or if you get a feather, that just sucks, I guess. If you still have your old item, you can, you know, you'll need one, right? So make it up here. You're going to grab the fourth panel, and then ideally trick off without using the item. That part's a bit tough, so if you need to, just burn your item here. It's a lot more consistent. And then you don't actually need to jump to make it on here as long as you enter right by the wall, right? So if I sort of hug the wall here, I'm gonna hop on the rail, no problem. If I do it a bit late, I will not. So in that case, you would need a charge jump. So just be careful about that. But in either case, you get on the rail, and you'll jump off at these item boxes. Do a sharp left turn here. You can use your item because there are more item boxes here. And then you will get to what I showed you earlier, which was the first panel. In this case, is the last one for Shy Guy Bazaar. So again, advanced route is there if you want to learn it, but the beginner route is pretty recommended, at least to start out. Alright, this is one of my personal least favorite courses. Whoa, hello. Okay. So, start off, you can do a few tricks to get to this area and head straight to the crane. I do one trick here, and then do a right trick off the rail to wall ride into this panel. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but that's just what I found is consistent for me. You can sort of change your direction here a tiny bit, but in either case, you rewind here, do a quick U-turn, and then jump off here. You want the speed that you get from that boost to go up to this panel, and this panel is why I hate this course. It is probably my least favorite panel in the game. I don't know, maybe someone else has a better strat for it, but yeah, you just jump off, and then you take the angle off of the dirt to make it up here, and jump off. The easiest backup is just to go back to the zipper booster, but another backup strat would just be to get a charge jump here, and that works a lot of the time. So whatever you choose, either this or to try for the charge jump method, you get here, you get to the sign, and you're not done yet because if you fall off of this sign, it is over. But you want to make it over here to these pipes. It does not matter which pipe you go into. A lot of people choose the second one because that's easier. I generally go for the first because I find it's closer, so that would probably be the fastest. But jump off, and end up in one of these three pipes. Does not matter which one. Alright, next one's pretty self-explanatory. You just drive to it. And then we're going to quit free roam again. Here you can spam a trick, just to speed up a bit. And a bit of a right turn here. Panel number 4. Jump off here, and then panel number 5 is in your view right here. Cool. All right, Airship Fortress. This is a harder course as well. We'll go over the easier strats though. So the easiest strat is you want to enter this hole right here. It's not too hard. Oops, you can't rewind though because you can't rewind to the start of courses. So I do a left turn and then back up a bit. But if you want, a lot of people just do the full right turn like this to get a bit of speed and then make it down here. You can charge jump against the wall and either jump right into the panel or do what I did and just get a wall ride so you can actually just jump off the wall and get a bit more speed like this. And then you'll just want to get the next exit way. If you're really good, you hit Nabbit here. Let's go. You want to do a few tricks here. Depending on which route you do, you specifically want to avoid these coins. My route does not need that, but if you prefer another route, either I think Helix and Salad both use the route that you finish on Bowser's Castle and Bone Dry Dunes. So if you do that route, you'd want to avoid that set of coins, but if not, you just follow this wire. And as you're exiting at the second torch, you want to do a charge jump into this panel. So the way the last three panels are templated, we're going to do... I don't think you can see them because they're not loaded in yet. Okay, so you can see the first one very poorly. Whatever. We'll go for the first one that we can see. So you sort of want to angle yourself that you will eventually get on the ship, but then you want to sort of dive down. Ooh. Okay, well, not like that. I took too long to dive down. There might be a visual cue or something. I generally don't do this route. But dive down, figure out something that works for you, and then head back up to make it onto the ship. Use a few mushrooms, trick off of this to a wall ride. And then big U-turn, get onto the middle of the ship, say hi to Rocky Wrench, and get the last panel here. So yeah, once you get on the ship, you basically just follow the route as long as you remember to, you know, turn right. And then this wall ride, I've never personally had a problem with it. You do tend to cut it pretty close a lot of the times. I wonder if you take it at more of an angle, is it safer? Yeah, okay. So if you go like completely parallel to the wall, you might miss it. No, not even. But taking it at an angle, you're probably safe to just grab that and then keep going to the last one, as we've seen. Alright, after Airship, we go to Bowser's Castle. So immediately, you're going to do a hard right after the starting line. And some people just drive off like this. Depending on your angle, some people actually... this might be weird. Oh, no. Some people actually... You can't trick with 0 speed. It's tragic. Go up here to bonk into this and turn. I've never found that works really well with smart steering. I essentially just jump off immediately and do turns just to make it up here, right? So no matter what you do, you end up here. You U-turn somehow, and you climb here, grab this, and turn back down to where we're going next, which is on this pipe, into a right trick to the first little cabin thing. So I'll just do all that again, since there's a lot going on. So you exit the wall, do a few right tricks, U-turn here. Whoops, you generally don't want to come up here, just because you will miss the rail. Left click off the rail immediately. Okay, we'll try that again. This is what happens. What's this thing? This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps. Something like that. Grabbed it. Oh my god. I'm in shambles. Grab this panel. Go down the same way. Jump immediately off and get to this panel. What you do next is you're going to take the zipper jump and not trick off of it. Very important. This is what happens if you trick. You miss the next panel. You do not want to miss the next panel. You jump off, you don't trick, and you do an air trick instead, just so you still get that boost, you know, in the air, obviously, or when you land, rather. So yeah, no trick. Actually, a lot of the times you might have to finesse yourself with this ball, so just Make sure you don't hit it. Wait for the next one. And make sure you just finesse yourself like that. Trick in the air. Trick off of this to get a wall ride. Ooh, not like that. So trick off of this ledge to get a wall ride. Jump immediately off so you don't do what I did the first time. And land on the blue, not in the lava. Surprisingly, going in the lava is slower. And then come up here and trick off of the jump to get into the pipe. And then the last two ones are pretty easy. One's just on your path, jump off immediately after. And you can wall ride and exit out immediately because you will, as far as I know, 100% of the time just pick it up. Okay, Dry Bones Burnout, relatively easy. You'll just grab these item blocks and take a slight right here. Shrooms is nice. Do another U-turn here. I've tried for a while to figure out if you can make it up here with a feather. I've not figured it out, but in either case, grab these item blocks, mash to this one immediately, and then you want to do a right trick off of the bottom section of this rail. And if you keep on doing right tricks, you should land on it. If you do it late or early, you might end up like close to it, so you'll have to just, like slow down on the wall and turn, obviously. But that's the next panel. Yeah, get a feel for it, because that's a lot faster, obviously. Oops. In either case, you can get your third panel here. We'll just use this nice golden to get the fourth panel that you see. And you'll do a quick warp. This one's tough, because you do want to hold right while you mash start. And then, not like that. Whoa! And then the last panel is right here. That was tragic. So, hold right, mash start, trick off of this in the air, and grab that. Do it again to redeem myself, and show you that it's actually not that hard. So hold A, hold right, press start, and then trick in the air. Bam. Fifth panel. Very easy. You know what? I should probably show the backup in case you won't do this route. Because that's also relatively easy. You'll want a item. Doesn't matter what it is. But generally, you will rewind to here and then turn to the right. I obviously don't have an item because I did a quick warp, so just pretend that what I get here is what I got earlier, which is fine. Oh my god. Okay, I actually don't know this course as well as I thought. Okay, good. So, yeah, triple shrooms is fine. So come out here, trick. If you have a feather, you jump as late as you can, but you can just use mushrooms in the lava, and that, you know, is just faster, right? Trick. Mushrooms to here. Get the fifth panel. Oops, wrong button. Acorn Heights is next. So the first panel you'll want is immediately behind you. You can see it. This jump is a bit tricky. I find it's actually easier with the mock rocket than it is with the baby blooper. Oops, that would have missed it, definitely. But there's sort of a bend right here, right? So I aim for that to do a right trick off of it. Get that. Then you'll rewind and do a left trick. You just drop down and get this panel. That is the harder way of doing it. The slower way loses like 2 seconds, so I'll just show that off. I sort of recommend doing that if you're starting out. So you'll just come here between the first and second coins, charge a jump to the left, and then it's a lot more lenient to get the panel this way. So grab that. So again, this is a smart steering trick. Oops, that would have missed it. Maybe closer to the second coin is better. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, closer to the first coin, so you can grab this panel, and then you just go through the hole in the wall here. Get the second one. If you do it right, It's about 2 seconds slower, so nothing to it there. In either case, you get the second panel, you restart, and you go through these item blocks. It's technically very slightly faster to not take the zippers. It's like 0.2 seconds if you do it right. So do whatever feels right to you. Get an item, get food, get the third panel, and then you're going to fly to the fourth panel, which should be coming into view any second now. There it is. And you'll want to save a few items because this is all off-road. Usually one mushroom and the food item is fine. So we'll grab this. You want to fall off at some point, and under the giant leaf, you will get the fifth panel here. And we go to Boo Cinema. Okay, immediately, we'll do almost a 180. Grab an item. Most of the time it's worth it. Gold, amazing. You can take the spring if you want to be fun. Whoa, I've never tricked off of that like that. That's funny. You can take the spring, not sure if it's faster, but I am pretty sure if you mushroom into it, it is faster. But in either case, you want to do a hard left here to get the next item. Nope. I cannot call anything by their real names. Ask the P-switch. Get the third question mark block. You want to delay your items just so you can keep them. So we'll be rewinding to here. And there's a few ways to get the next panel. I like just going left of the glider ramp to drop down here. Some people rewind further. Actually, what they do is they'll start here and do that to make it to the next panel. And then you rewind to here, and you can jump off. So either left of the glider ramp or that strat, go by feel. And then the last one's right here. It's a very easy panel to get if you get the trick. If you get the trick, I've never missed it. I have, however, missed this trick like that many times. I feel like if you're too close to this wall, it'll be more difficult to miss the trick. So I sort of just aim for the middle and get this panel. So again, stay away from the wall. I can never do it. In the middle, very nice. Okay, Mario Circuit next. This one, there is one trick that's a bit tough, but the rest of it is pretty simple. So 180, and then you'll immediately start a charge jump and go over the blue blocks to get this question mark block, and then go into the closest pipe you see. So this is the hard trick. You get this panel, and then you want to hit the jumper. Not like that. You want to hit the jumper to land on the rail. Sort of like that. I am pretty consistent with it, but I'm still having difficulties with it. If you just don't drift, it's pretty easy to do. You just do a side trick in the air. Yeah, slow down here. Trick, side trick, and you're good to go. You'll jump up right there. So there are 3 coins on this ramp. After the 3 coins, you want to do a neutral jump into a side jump. If you try to do a side jump off of this, you will have a bad time. So neutral jump into a side trick, and then you can trick off of this rail. Oh my goodness. Neutral jump, side trick, trick off of this rail, and then you'll want to immediately trick off of the rail with the billboard. And that way you can get this guy, right? If you do it too late, you'll still get it, that's fine, but you won't be able to get to the next rail. So trick, turn, and then you want to be on this rail. Again, trick to the side, drift, you're on this rail. If you don't get onto that rail, it'll just slow down. Oops, that actually worked as well. Alright, well I was holding the B button, so whatever you do, get on this rail and you're going to exit this way to get first of all an item, and second of all, the question mark block. Okay, so let's just do all that again, because it is a lot of things back to back. I'll do it without stopping this time at least. Exit the pipe, grab this guy, drift if you want, if not, don't. End up here, normal trick, there are 3 coins on this one, normal trick, trick into side flip, trick, side trick into a drift onto this one, and jump down. Do not hit the binoculars. I've done that exactly 1 time in a run, and I've never done it since. You do not want it to happen to you. Either case, you'll grab this. If you want to risk it, you can drift here and sort of make it. If not, don't worry about it. grab this here. Whatever item you get, you're gonna use it to get to the next panel, which is just a charge jump onto this podium section here. So yeah, really not that complex. And yet, there's a lot that can go wrong. Okay. Toad's Factory. So this is a bit of a random course, specifically for the start of it. So you're gonna turn to the right to get an item box. And you want this guy to show you the panel. He does not always show you the panel. There is no backup strat. If he's hiding the panel, you just wait here. You can like sort of drive up against him. Make sure you have acceleration. Or not. He shows you the panel, you grab it. I did have an item though. I need my item. No matter what you get, you grab this panel, your item you'll use to just cross this off-road section. I personally grab an item here. Some people don't. Do what feels right. You do one trick if you grab an item, you do like 3 if you don't. Grab the panel, trick, trick, and then you want to slow down at this bump to make sure you actually land on the panel, because you will absolutely clear this even if you don't trick off of the bump. Slow down, grab, trick off of this, and then you'll want to start charging a jump and go up these stairs. I personally prefer using the rail here. Some people use the stairs. I don't really know how they do it because it feels very tight to make it. So I trick onto the rail, which is, I promise, very easy. And then side trick to this panel, super easy. And then trick on the top part. You will eventually see the Yoshi sign, and you sort of want to aim for the Yoshi sign or a bit to the right. Let's just go back here. Oops, okay, we're going slow, so this will not work. But trick up here, use your mushroom, see the Yoshi sign, great. And then the last panel, you just want to trick onto it like that. Alright, from here, go down to Choco Mountain, is the next one. Okay, so the first one is right on this tent. We'll grab it. You can trick here and sort of finesse your way past the gates. If you hit the gates, I'm actually surprised I made it there, but if you hit the gates, you generally do not make it back. Okay. So basically what you do is if you hit the gates and you know you're not making it back, just hit the rewind, try again. Not that big a time loss. Definitely less big a time loss than to get picked up by Lactu. So 2 strats you can do here. I start sort of a wide drift, and then I'm going to grab the item and pop it into the dirt and mash the item button, so I can always make it like this. So you saw even with a feather, which is the hardest item to make it with, I was able to make it. If not, you can trick off of this guy and you make it with pretty much everything. Feather again is possible. I'll just show that a bit better because that looked a bit sketchy. I don't normally do this strat, so apologies if it looks a bit rough. No. I think Salad does it, so check his PB if that's something you're interested in. But in either case, you make it past here. I'll show the easier strat first. So you want to hit up your next panel here. Come over here to get this panel, and then rewind. We'll jump off under the Larry Lights panel, get this guy. Make sure you go slow. If you go off of this with full acceleration, you will just clear it. So don't do that. Go down a tiny bit, and then drop down and follow the path. What you're going to want to do here is do a charge jump about before the items, and then you're going to want to hit this wall at an angle. So that wasn't enough of an angle, right? Or I wasn't on the side enough. But the more you're perpendicular with the wall, the harder it's going to be to make it up onto the next platform. But if I go into this doing like a 45-degree angle, like there's no way you miss that, right? You just jump off the wall, obviously. It's actually, especially if you have like a mushroom or something, you just, yeah. It looks tight. If you do it a few times, you'll see that there's not, there's really nothing to it. You don't even need to trick if you go at enough of an angle. Yeah, you do need the charge jump, though. That is the thing. So I'm actually not sure how they expect you to get this without items or charge jump or something. But that's the slower strat, or the easier strat. So we'll go back to this panel. Oops, well, you'll get the item box first of all. So the harder strat, you grab this guy, and you'll actually go here and do this panel first. So again, slow it down so you don't blitz off the ledge. Grab this, and then rewind to get the next 2 panels. This. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure it's easier to just not click here, actually. I should remind myself to do that. You'll grab this panel, and then what you want to do is that there's this little bush here, and you see the mountain in the distance. You're going to look to the right of it, and you're just going to do a very slow drop off of it. And what should happen is you bonk yourself onto this panel. Again, you come here, you grab this panel, find this little tuft of grass, and then very slowly fall. So that's the faster strat. If you get used to it, it's pretty good. I think there's actually a third strat where after you come here, you just come to this section and make it up here. Come here and do the drop, which I don't know the angle for this one. Maybe it's just like this. No, whatever. You do that, and then you rewind, and then you do the last 2 panels. I'm not sure if it's faster. I haven't timed it personally, but I don't know. I'm sure someone will someday. But in either case, lots of options for Choco Mountain. A pretty tough course, but there are beginner strats at least. Alright, Moo Moo Meadows. Okay, so immediate right turn into the grass. You can grab the panel that's here, and then you can drift off of the speed boost to get a bit of a boost and clear that fence if you actually trick off of that. We'll try that again. Yeah, no fence this time, I guess, so won't be authentic, but here, boom, go through the fence. Pretty sure you go through the fence there. I should test that. And then you grab this one and rewind. I personally get the food item here. A lot of people don't. So they'll do a very light curve into the next question mark blocks. I do a bit of a larger drift into it. So do whatever feels right. And then you're going to charge a jump against this fence at a 45-degree angle. So again, grab, find your 45-degree angle, make sure you get the panel, obviously, and then grab that. If you don't, you might not make it. So again, just work on your angle, and it should be pretty possible. But in either case, let me just get my items back. $45, jump off to get this one. If that is too hard, which is a possibility, it's fine. The backup strat is just to come in here and then pass this P-switch. There's a pipe. This just takes you to the top. So that'd be a few seconds slower. Try to do the charge jump into the getting the panel, but in either case, you jump off and you want to use your items just to make it, first of all, past the fence, so blow through it with a mushroom or jump over this. And then second of all, onto this wire. This is a very difficult wire because there's no, like, trail to it. You need to, like, actually just start on here. If you're here, it won't work. Okay, well, if you're there, it generally won't work. But, like, if you're trying to drift onto it, it is pretty tough, especially if you have, like, mushroom speed or food speed. So slow down if you need to. Oops, you do not want to jump off of there. So you can air trick here. You can air trick here if you actually have the speed for it. And then trick here for the last panel. So yeah, other than this wire and the annoying jump earlier, it's a pretty easy course otherwise. Alright, next is Dandelion Depth. I don't really have a backup strat for the one hard trick. I'll show like a desperation backup if you really need it, but I really wouldn't recommend it. But first panel, you just drop and grab it, and then you get the glider. It's faster to try to fly to the panel, but I just land immediately. It saves you a headache. Next one is down this ramp, and you want an item here. So two things you can do here. You can either get this one from the bottom, so you just trick off of this, and you get this like 99.9% of the time. Or if you want, you can try to get it from the side like this, and then you sort of just drop and hit it like that. For this strat, you sort of want to drive until you can't see it, and then you drop. So eventually the ground is going to cover it, so I would come down here, grab it like that. And this is a case where you can use your item. I can use like my mushroom here to grab it, and then rewind and refresh it. And then basically you just go straight and drop off here. This is the really annoying one, because what you want to do is jump and wall ride and get the panel like that. There are many, many cases where you will go too high. There are many, many cases where you will go too low. I think I have just a really good angle right now, but it's annoying is what I'm getting at. Like that would miss it, obviously. That would miss it. And you sort of just sit there and you continuously miss it. The backup strat really is to get it from the other side, which I think the best path is just to follow the road. Yeah, and then you come over here and you get it from this side, which this one is like super consistent for some reason. From this side, it's just somehow not. But anyways, you grab this with your favorite alternative method, you jump down, and you can imagine what goes on next. If you have a feather, very nice jump to get from here. Otherwise, you just drive up. Whoops, you just drive up. Neat. Cheep Cheep balls. I will not be going into the tree jump. Try to show it off. So you go here and you try to jump into this tree, and you make it like that. It's a tough strat. You sort of want to aim for like this dot on the tree. And I do a side flip left into the tree, but it saves like 6 or 7 seconds. It's not that big a deal if you just don't do it. So the alternative strat is you come over this way and grab the item blocks. That line was awful. Let's try that again. So over here, grab the item blocks. You don't want to trick off of the first stump here, because you will end up on this rail and then cry. So you can drift onto it if you can. If not, just drive onto it and then get the first panel as if you would for the first strat. So if you do the tree jump, you would not have an item. Just keep that in mind. But in this case, I do. You're going to trick. Actually, no. For a beginner, it's better to just go straight. I'll show both strats actually, but around here you just want to jump off, get the next panel, and then come up here and do sort of a hairpin turn. And you can use your mushroom here to cut the off-road to get the next panel. So I recommend that. Oops, thank you, Nabbit. You could not rewind it to Nabbit. The harder strat is you trick off this tree, and the harder strat comes from the fact that that panel we get later. So just keep that in mind. This part is not actually tough. You drive on this part. You can do something fancy here. You charge jump into the rock. No, I can't do it. Charge jump into the rock, onto the wall, onto this. That's if you don't have an item. If you do have an item, don't waste your time. Just use the item. And then here you can actually trick off this hump right here. Sort of doesn't look like it, but as long as you're going fast enough and you want to sort of aim between the coins, I've found that to be more consistent. You just trick off of it and you generally make that that jump. Don't get an item here, you will not need it. On this line right here, you sort of want to charge jump. I go just a bit above the line just to be a bit safer. but you aim for the line, essentially. Get this panel. Do not trick here. Oops. Well, you'd be going faster than that. So do not trick here. Do not trick here. You'll actually want to slow down a bit because you want to be as slow as possible to enter this part. If you trick off of either of these parts, so I'm holding the B button, I'm holding down, I don't think there's a way for me to make it. So do not trick there, is the short version of it. So I don't know if holding B actually helps. I do it, and then you just crash into this wall. If you're really good, you can actually make it so that you hit off of the sidewall here and cancel it and grab the panel. I'm not consistent at that. If you want to learn that, it feels pretty cool when you do it. And then if you did not get that second panel, you would come down here to do this, and then I do a front flip. I think you can just do a normal trick off of it though, to get that panel. So see how it all looks together. Come down here, crash into the wall, do a 180, and this is the hard part because it is a bit of a blind jump. Trick, get the last panel. Again, a bit faster, but whatever you do, oops. Yeah, whatever you do, you get this panel, and then you exit Cheep Falls. So a couple of alternatives there, but yeah, tough course. Okay. For Salty Speedway, the trick right at the beginning is you can actually skip just driving around by doing that. That's a bit of a tough trick. Thank you, Yoshi. Dude. He's in the way. No, okay, he's just stretching. If you don't do that, you just climb the stairs and get the panel this way, and then you would just rewind just so you have a better angle going forward. But either case, you want to try to make it up onto these stairs. Thank you. This is Baby Park. It is Baby Park. So trick up on here. Okay, if you don't, you just go around and get these items. If you do, you clear the lamppost, preferably from the right side. That's just a very weird angle that I normally don't do. Okay, well, you normally don't hit the post, and you get it like that. So I get 2 item blocks here. I find it a lot easier. And then really the same thing if you do this strat, so you just left click here, and then trick off here. Whoops! Oh my god. Well, trick off here, grab these item blocks, grab the second set of item blocks, and then go through the waterfall. So this is a level where you really want a feather. If you don't get a feather, it's not the end of the world. I'll show both strats anyways. Once you clear these steps, you can just burn all your items to make it to this panel. And then rewind back to the steps. We're going to do a U-turn, and then follow the course a bit to this wall ride. Do not use an item here because you will probably hit this. And then you cry. So you just want to jump off of it. I do a trick to the side. You get this question mark block. If you lean a bit left here, you will get another item, which is nice. Let's see if it's a feather, actually. Oops, I guess we won't see if it's a feather. It is a feather. If you get a feather, max speed off of this, you can time your jump onto the blue roof to get that. If you don't get a feather, there's 2 strats. There is the difficult strat, which I am very bad at, which looks like that. So you charge a jump into the post. I cannot show you this a second time because this post is now gone. We charge a jump into that post, you trick off of it, and then you make it there. So you can do a similar trick off of the Yoshi sign, but this time there is no charge jump, so it just looks exactly like that. So what you do is you mushroom, and then you trick off of this ramp, and you want to aim just a touch to the left of the sign. And you're not hitting the sign itself, you're hitting the little post underneath the sign. So mushroom, trick, and then you make it like that. I'm not sure if this actually matters, but I always do a side trick instead of a normal trick, just because your bike spins, and I feel like that gives you more, like, area actually hit the post and make it appear, but that is the backup. If all else fails, the backup, or I don't know what you would call it, the safe strat, is really simple. You just want to grab your items and just make it around here. It's about 5 seconds slower, so if you're really starting out and you're not loving the strat, you just go around. It's not too bad. Alright, Faraway Oasis. I swear there's something in this one. Some people start by going to the right there. It's about a second faster, but it relies on item luck. So you just follow the path here, and then you'll charge jump near the second post, just onto this rail, and then jump down to make it to the first panel. You want to drive through these item blocks and sort of see where I'm going. So like you can see this item block is sort of touching this one. You don't want to drive through it at like this angle, for example, because the next one is a bit of a blind jump onto this roof. So again, I line myself up like this, and as long as you're going full speed, you normally make it. I was not going full speed. But in this route at least, you have an item, so you can burn the item if you need to. So just, you know, do the exact same thing. You would come here, use your mushroom or feather or whatever, grab these, and then go on your merry way to the next item blocks. The next one is under this big rock. Bam, right here. And then you can come here and take the pipe. The zebra is a-okay, don't worry. Grab this panel and then do a hard right turn. Well, what a lot of people do is end up on this, is end up on this rail and then just side flip off, and you can use your mushroom in the off-road. Make it here. So that's an option. If you don't want to do that, you just trick off of it and obviously go around. So this is the one panel, I forget if I showed it or not, but with smart steering, you can't just drive into it. If you have smart steering off, you can just drive into it. So the two ways of doing it, you either come here, you hug the wall, and you take it from the side and try to jump into it. And I super hate this trick because it is very inconsistent. What I do now is, once you pass the buffaloes, just start a charge jump, and then you charge jump into it. That was a bit early. Charge jump into it. And again, with smart steering off, you can just drive into it, so that can save you a bit of a headache here. Alright, for Dino Jungle, immediate 180. Trick off of this if you want. And then another 180. So here you do not want to trick. What the hell? I think I hit a racer. Here you do not want to trick, because you'll land on that zipper boost, and then you'll get this question mark block. And then you keep going from here. I actually lost my item, so you would have an item here. But yeah, again, don't trick, hit this guy, trick off this guy, burn your item if you have one, rewind, and then you can trick off this one to continue up this ramp. There's another hairpin turn coming up, full 180 here, into a quick wall ride. This section some people tend to have trouble with. What I do is I get on this rail as fast as possible and then trick off of it to turn over here, and not do that, but jump down, or just so what the whole thing looks like. So you come here, wall ride, jump off of here, get here immediately. Oops, oh no. Okay, well, should look something similar to that. We'll just try again from here. Same thing happened. So you go this way, basically, is what I'm saying. If you happen to either exit late or you accidentally end up on the first rail, it can go a bit astray. So you'd want to just jump, and then really try to get a sharp turn as possible to get here. So next panel here. For this jump, you want to aim for the third coin. So there are 3 coins there. Pretty self-explanatory. Even without a boost or anything, you normally just... If you go too far to the left, you will just end up on the wall, which you don't really want. Because from here, you can't really jump off safely. Oh, well, maybe you can if you're high enough. You want to avoid that, though. So you're aiming for the third coin, assuming that you push do this whole thing again, because you'd obviously have a bit more speed. Aim for the third coin. Jump off here to this booster, and then you jump off this rail. Brake immediately. Preferably you don't land on that rail, actually. You come here, land on the ground, brake immediately. You want to do a U-turn for the last panel, and this one is a bit tough. So what I do is there's sort of like a black border, I'm on it right now, that leads to there. You want to sort of use that as your guide. So you come up here, and then you want to start a drift, so that you drift off of this jump and land on this rail. And you use this black border sort of as the guide of where the ramp ends, right? So I still have trouble with this trick. You know, do it at your own risk, but that's how you grab that panel. The easiest strat I've found was you just come up here to the U-turn, a half pipe rather, and then you do a half pipe into this area. It is pretty big. If you got too much of an angle, you will clear it, obviously. You'd have more speed. So, like, you will clear it if you do that, for example. So try not to do it at too much of an angle, but low speed, and make it here. 180, and grab these guys. And these guys if you want. Don't actually grab the coins, that's a bad idea. Alright, great question, block ruin. So start by going through these item blocks. You can actually do a little trick off of this off-road, which saves a bit of time. And the first question mark block is, well, you see it right here. It's under this stack of blocks that I just broke. So sort of get a feel for it, and use your item immediately if it's not a feather, because you don't really have a chance to use it otherwise. But yeah, the hitbox is big enough, but get a feel for it so you can just do that, and then grab it as you continue on the path here. So this part's really important. You want to fall down here with as little speed as possible, and then you want to do a trick. If you do not do a trick, you bump off of this and you get a crazy amount of speed. Oops. If you fall out here with a little speed and you do a trick, you just glide off the side, right? Because the game's trying to, like, give you a wall ride. So that's what you do. You want to do a trick. You specifically, though, you don't want to do something that, like, makes you end up on... No, I can't do it because I'm trying to do it, obviously. Makes you end up on this wall, because that just would suck. So fall down, minimum speed, do a trick, and you can do either side tricks or just hold right, but you want to end up on this rail and then get this panel. So all together now. Minimum speed, trick, clear this, do a couple of side tricks, and then get the panel. And try to jump off and land on the rail here. So this rail, you're going to jump off at this torch, the one that I just passed by. That's sort of your visual cue. That's the one I use, at least. So jump off at the torch or a bit before. The cloud is pretty big. For the next clouds, you do not want to, or rather I don't want to, maybe you do. You don't want to trick off of the cloud, because that gives you a lot of speed. Right, so if I trick off of this cloud here, it is almost impossible to make it. I'll show something after. It's difficult to make it into the pipe. So you jump off, and then you do an air trick. Trick, jump off, do an air trick, or two. Okay, spam it more than I do, I guess. But basically, this is where you're going to end up next, right? You're trying to do that. And I just do want to show something because I thought of it. So you can actually enter pipes from above. I'll need a bit more speed, though. There you go. That's your party trick if you want to do that. Oops. Okay. Enter the next pipe. Get the panel. Enter the next pipe. Here is a bit of a tough trick. I'll just show it off again after. But while you're in the air, I'll have to restart this because you can't rewind through panels. While you're in the air, you're going to do like 3 barrel rolls. And you're going to want to count 2 to 3 of them. After 2 to 3 of them, After 2 to 3 of them, you'll start doing tricks to the right. I count 10 tricks, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Land on this cloud, land on this P-switch, right? If you do not do that, the safer strat is just to land on this part of the road. I'll just show from the pipe. All right. Safe strat, you exit the pipe, and you just end up on the bottom part of the road. Really nothing to it. This I think is about like 4 seconds slower. Nothing too bad. Trick off of this, and get the last panel there. Peach Beat's next. So there's 2 ways to start this one. Some people do a charge jump up here. Other people just take the ramp here, and then you can actually do a trick off of this part. Do not trick off the second part because you will end up here, which you do not want. So this jump you do not trick off of. But yeah, so whichever you do, I do the charge jump. Some people go here, not sure which is fastest. But you'll trick off of this. And then you'll want to slow down just a touch because of this one before you keep on going this way, right? You're driving. You don't even need to hold the B button if you just let go of A at the right time. But let go of A like right here, grab this, and then hold A again to trick off of here. You can actually, if the Cataclac's in a good position, borrow him to launch you forward. Well, okay, he can launch you forward. You can trick in the air when you do that. And then don't trick here, but you want to get the boost from this ramp. You can actually just like clip it, the side of it, and you still get the speed boost. Get the third panel. Okay, so there's a trick later in Peach Beach that you cannot do with a star, or you can do it, but it's like exceptionally tight. So you can do this with just 1 item box. I think everyone just defaults to getting 2 item boxes like this. And then you come up here and you want to jump off right after the tower here. So once you've charge jump, oh my god. So on the rail, jump off after the tower here, grab this one, and then rewind. So this is the jump that we're talking about where you need the item. You just come here and you jump over that. With a feather, it's actually easier because you would come off up here with a bit more speed. You honestly can aim for the pipe and then you would feather it in the air and you make it like very easily. But if not with a mushroom, if you're going straight ahead, it's very easy to do. If you're being optimal, you would want to sort of angle yourself a tiny bit to make it into the pipe. If you for some reason end up here and you don't have an item and you can't make it down, actually, I wonder, can you do it from here? No. I can't rewind, whatever. The easiest way, you would actually go from this panel. But the easiest way is you just drive this way and drop all the way down. And you'll make it onto the chain. And flip into this pipe. So no matter what, you'll end up here. So the big jump we did was from that rooftop over there. You would make it here to this pipe. And then from here, you just drive straight and you get the last panel at the top here. Alright. Wario Shipyard. So the first panel is, can you see it? Oh, you can, just barely. So very much on the right of the screen there. So there's 2 strats. I prefer the first one. Some people prefer the second one, and then the third one is the backup strat that loses a few seconds. So I'll go over both of them really quick, but they are a bit tougher. So the first one is you come up to this corner, and you're going to want to charge jump into the wall right in front of you. You're going to want to charge jump, actually. Oh my goodness. I can't do things under pressure. And then jump off immediately and turn here to get the first panel. Again, strat's a bit tough. There's not much to it more than that, though. The second strat is you come back over here, go around to the first window, and then you're going to do a charge jump into the lamppost and basically just clear the gap. So you'll want to aim just to the left of it, just because you are on a slope, and then do that to clear the gap and grab the panel. So again, I'm aiming like here, right? I'm not aiming at the lamppost because we're on a slope. I'm aiming just to the left of it. Ooh, like that was too tight, right? That was aiming too much to the lamppost. Oh my goodness. So this is why I prefer the first one. A lot of people swear by this one though, so, you know, figure out what works for you. You grab it like this. If both of these are too hard, which is fine, this is a very annoying strat. You start around here. All you do is you come back over here, and you're going to jump in the water. And this loses about 6 seconds, so it's like not even that big a deal. You just come up here, get this panel, and then rewind to go to the item blocks. I didn't mention that actually, but if you do the wall ride panel, you're going to come here and do a bit of a wide turn, as you saw earlier. You're going to grab this, and then you're going to rewind to make it to the item blocks over here. In any case, you will get here. I guess just for completion's sake, if you do the first one with the charge jump into the lamppost, you sort of drive up against this wall, and this one you just drive to the item blocks. Sharp turn to this window. You can burn your item here if you want, because we will be rewinding. You just hold left here, and you get it most of the time. I think if you have a star, you'll still get it. But if you have mushroom speed exiting here, you won't. Actually should test the star one day, I'm not sure. But in either case, you come back to before the item blocks, because we will need items for the next jump coming up. Get the question mark panel there, and then you'll jump off to the left here to get just this one. Rewind, and then there's a big jump here. What I do is I line up with this piece of wood and just go. So with full speed, you come here, boom, grab this panel, rewind, jump off of here, and make it very safely up onto the boat. This can be tougher with a star or a feather. Okay, this can be tougher with a star or a feather. So we'll come over here. Come over here, get this panel. With a feather, generally you can just do the same jump and then clear it like that, which is fine. Also, I always forget this, but you do need to trick in the air with the feather to actually get the boost when you land. So feather's the same thing. It can be trickier. I think if you jump immediately, you still make it. Oh, you actually cut it really tight. Well, lesson learned. With the star, though, this is where it gets a bit fun, and by fun, I mean... Why'd I do that? Okay, this is where it gets a bit complicated, because you do want to take a bit more of an angle this way. Just so that it's... Ugh. Yeah, just so that it's less air travel time. Like, if you try for the same jump, you will miss it by, you know, a foot or two. Can you trick off of here, actually? No. Okay. Oh, that was awful. But yeah, so you want to do very much a trick all the way here to land on this side, which, again, difficult. Oops. Actually, I didn't think of this before. All right, we're finding this out now. The later you trick, the further you're gonna go. If I land, I don't know, that far from the wooden beam in the water versus... Okay, well, it's hard to visualize. But the later you trick, the further you're gonna go. So if you delay your trick, like that, yeah, you can make it pretty easily. Okay, well, maybe the star's not too complex. Practice with the star, though, even though it's sort of annoying to grab, because if you can't, what you do is you grab this guy, you'll rewind, you'll obviously just have a star here, and then you can just grab this food item. So it really doesn't matter what the food item is. Okay, so you get your small food item, and then same thing. You would come down here, do this bad boy. Then, same thing, boost off of the side and get this last panel. But again, practice with the star. It's not the hardest thing in the world. Should be possible. Okay, so DK Pass is up next. You want to end up on the other side of this path without entering the path. I am very bad at drifting here and not ending in the pipe and actually getting the item boxes. I recommend just not drifting, but it is possible to do it if you drift. I just don't recommend that. So you drive here, you make sure you don't get sucked into the pipe because that is a industrial sized vacuum cleaner. And then you're gonna drive up to this post right here. What the fuck? You're going to drive up to this post right here, and then you're going to start a charge jump. And the reason is, this panel, you don't need a charge jump to do it. But this panel sucks. Like, you can try it if you want. It's... I don't know what they were thinking, honestly. And I am not the only person who holds this opinion. A lot of people just do not understand what the hell's going on with that. So this is technically faster without a charge jump. I think everyone just does a charge jump. So once you clear this post, you do a left trick into the wall, and you get it like 18 times out of 20. So one of two things can happen. Either you... Oh, you can't rewind from there. So either you end up on the rail, in which case you do an immediate trick to the side to go this way, or you don't end up on the rail, and you just jump off, which, again, same thing, doesn't matter which happens. What you're going to want to do is you're going to go on the rail of this ramp, and sort of at the first thing right here, the word's going to come back to me, but at the first metal thing right here, you're going to do a side trick. So if you do it right, it looks like this, and you land up here. If you do it wrong, you lose a lot of time, and you cry. Oh, that was actually... Okay, well... Right, you lose a lot of time, and you cry. If that's too tough, if you're not getting it consistently, just take this really slow, do a 180, and it's not much slower to go up here. So slow down here, 180, and you can use your item right here if you haven't used it. Next panel is right here, so you can grab that and then rewind. Grab an item box, and then fly off of this one to the next panel. You can get an habit here if you have enough speed, which is fun, but you obviously don't need that. Last panel's on this roof, really self-explanatory. And then for the last panel, you do want an item, so I'll see if I can get two different ones, like a feather, star. No. Okay. So you get that panel. With mushrooms, it's easy. You just mushroom off of this and you can jump off and clear this gap. With a feather, you can basically do the same thing, but with a star is when it gets complicated. So I'll just grind for these. So you come with here, wow. But yeah, so same thing. A feather, you can just jump off and then generally clear the gap here. Very easy. Again, trick in the air with the feather, I always forget. Trick. And then you get the speed boost. Wow. With a star, you can't take the same angle. So, I guess you would start the star earlier, right? So you fall off here. Oh, okay. You fall off here, you trick. Start the star. And then you cannot take the same angle. You will not make it. You do need to go a bit to the right with the star. Oh my god, when did I start it? There you go. So you want to go to the right here. Clear this. This is a very annoying ramp to take, because if you're like angled just a tiny bit, you're just gonna like magnet onto it. So just be careful with that. Same thing if you're too far to your right here. Oh, well, I guess not. Okay, well, going left, it is very annoying because you're like, oh, well, panel's this way, great. And then you just magnet onto it and cry. You get that. And make sure it says 140, good. All right, last two. Sky High Sundae next. So immediately you're gonna wanna go to, I don't know, 5 o'clock-ish, and then jump off, get this panel. You're gonna wanna get on this rail, and then jump off pretty much immediately. So there's two, oh, we'll have to restart for this. So there's like two ways you can do it. I'll show both of them off, but first of all, you come down here, you can trick and then drift onto this, and then jump off immediately, because you get this panel, obviously, that you can see. Or some people come off of here, trick, and then they'll actually side flip. I don't like it specifically because of that. Or... yeah, I don't do this one for a reason. Some people swear by it, though. In either case, yeah, the other thing is you end up really close to this pipe, and I've been swallowed by that pipe too many times. But yeah, in either case, you get that question mark panel. Again, if you jump too late on this one, you will just end up sort of eating it and in the wrong place, and you will be sad. So yeah, pros and cons of both, but hop on here, jump off immediately, and at the bottom to get the second panel. Alright, the last three, pretty easy. You take a left after you start flying. This is a hologram. You can just completely fly through it. You can take the speed boost if you want. Grab an item if you want. And then there are two ways to get onto this rail. So you can either go wide here and get on from the edge, or you just follow the path and then trick onto the rail here. In either case, you just get the panel, right? And then you can jump off here. You should have an item here. I do not, skip the rewind. You'll want to come up here. I take this part slow almost all the time. Go 180 up here, and then keep it up to keep going on the path. So just again, start off here. I don't trick here. You can if you want. I recommend not to, though. Grab this one, grab these guys, and then continue going this way to the zipper, and then to the rail, and then jump off. And that's pretty much Sky High Sundae. Alright, Starview Peak. You'll drop off again, 4 or 5 o'clock angle, and then do a 180 immediately. First panel is right behind you. And then follow the path to the second panel. And then you'll leave a bit to get the third panel, which is just right here. For the last two, you'll just follow the path, and this is very easy. Get a few items. I save my item if it's a single shroom. You want at least one speed item as you come down here, because you want to slow down. If you come here with full speed, you can very much just clear it. But I think if you come with full speed and you don't trick, you generally make it, and you do an air trick, obviously. But yeah, basically don't blitz off of this because you'll miss it. So grab this, you can use your speed item here. There's a faster strat, I think just one person does it, where you grab the panel and then jump and grind the rail in the middle. It looks cool, but I can't do it. Nah, we're gonna stop going for it. Long story short, you get the panel, and that'll bring you to the last panel of the run. And that'll be it. So there you go. After you get the last panel, make sure you show there are 150. First thing you gotta do. Many such cases where people don't do that and then they can't get their runs approved on the leaderboard, which is sad. But yeah, that was the guide. So if you have any questions, I recommend joining the Discord. I can answer if you comment on the video, but the Discord is going to be more helpful than I am because, first of all, I'm in the Discord, but second of all the other runners are as well. So hope you enjoyed, and good luck on the runs. Okay, so a bit of bonus content. I just didn't want to re-render to our video, so we're just slapping this onto the end. There is a trick that you can do pretty much on every level to save a bit of time. At this point, you're familiar with what a question block panel is. And generally you need to collect them before, you know, going to the next one. The goal is to get all of them. Thank you, Toad. Very helpful. However, on every panel that you do a map warp from, so either the last panel of the courses or things like Peach Stadium, where you get the second panel and then you go back to Peach Stadium, you can actually open the map slightly before you get the panel and then warp to wherever you're going next. And you'll see on the bottom here, it's going to say that I did get a question mark panel, even though I clearly was not on top of it, right? But you can very much see that it's not there. And again, that works in every course of the game. So if you go to, this one has one that's close to the start. I go to Whistlestop. I can get this panel, not even touching it, but I go to Desert Hill, and I do still get that panel from Whistlestop. So it just says so at the bottom, and you can check the map, and I very much got one, right? So you can use this on every course in the game. And then again in courses like Peach Stadium, Starview Peak, Sky High Sundae, you can use it twice as well. Just don't thread the needle too closely, because if you know, don't pick up the panel, then the run's basically dead, right? So just careful about that, but otherwise keep that in mind when you're doing runs.